Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Step Up. It is hard to believe that it is March the 1st. Now, this year seems to just be passing faster and faster, and here we are, basketball playoffs, spring sports started. What a busy time of year. And we are so fortunate. I'm honored today to have as our guest Coach Bill Murdock, one of the winningest football coaches in the state of Georgia with 285 wins. And Coach Murdock, glad to have you today. Looks like we got a technical problem here, Richard. Can you hear me, Bill?
Can you hear me now, Marty?
Yeah, there you are. We're just lucky to have you here today. I'm honored, man, to have you on the show. You and I have been friends for, it seems like, our whole life. You've been such a good friend and influence on me. And I'm honored that you would sit in here with us tonight. Bill and I go back for, it seems like, decades. Can't even remember when we first knew each other. I remember you as a high school player when you were playing for Coach Wayne Profit.
That's right. And that was a long time ago. You were coaching the Brookwood Warriors. I remember Teppo, your name in that state championship team you had. Awesome bunch.
Yeah, that was quite a bunch there. And you were quite a player, man. And you played for one of the toughest coaches that ever walked. What was it like playing for Coach Profit?
Coach was he was a neat individual. He knew how to get the most out of everybody, and that was back in the good old days. Folks don't coach like that anymore, and I think it's part of the problem with our world today. How kids don't turn out quite as tough as they used to.
Yeah, I think you're right. I believe there's too many factors and distractions that kids have to run through to get to coaches now. Used to just be a coach-player relationship. Now it's coach, player, parent, league coach, some kind of trainer they have, some kind of uncle who thinks he's an NIL agent. There's a lot of things in between the coach and the kids now, isn't it?
Yeah, so much more involved now. It really is more personal and more. You have to be more of a father type figure now to be successful, and it's really changed in the like you're saying, the trainers and the travel ball and all now. It's just really changed the whole landscape.
Really has, but it's still a position where a coach sits as a wonderful influence on a young man's or young woman's life. And that part is maybe a little more difficult, but it's still the best podium I know of influence in our society.
Right. It is. You have a chance to make a positive impact on kids, and that's just one thing I enjoyed so much about it. And I knew I was going to miss that when I stepped down from being the coach last year, but still being the head of school, I'm around the kids a lot, and actually was able to go to more things this year, like softball games, that kind of stuff. We had a great softball team, won the region championship, was able to be involved with more kids because some of my time freed up, and that's just like this weekend. We just came off a girls state championship, the first one since 2011, and Coach Eric Israel led his girls, and we were against a great team. We were behind the whole time, and till the last 3 minutes of the game, and we ended up winning by 3. And it was just in Columbus. It was just an exciting time.
Well, congratulations on that, Coach. You guys have a great athletic program, and for those people out there listening who don't know, I call him Coach Murdock, but he's a headmaster at Terrell Academy, quite a school up there. And they continue to flourish. They got great students, great support, And a lot of it has to do with you, Coach. And I would imagine that coaching as a head football coach and being a headmaster was quite a job.
It was, and as we grew, when I went in 2005, we had 206 kids total in school, and this year we have 578. So we've almost tripled in size, and it got to a point where it was really tough to be able to do this. And I hired Jack Harris, an alumni and former coach there. When I was able to do that, I totally relaxed because I knew our program was in great hands, and he's doing a good job. Our girl athletics right now is super, super strong. Our boys, we've got a lot of good young athletes. We're getting better and better there each and every day. And our baseball program has been tremendous. We've Coach Ashley Walker's been able to win 2 state championships in the last 5 years, and played for it one other time. So that's going, and we're coming back strong with that also.
In an age where a lot of private schools are losing enrollment, you guys are still going up. So whatever you're doing, it must be the right thing.
We think so, Marty. We're just trying to be real positive and trying to have a good school for all involved. It's a family, and our folks show turned out so great for that championship ball game the other night. It was unbelievable. We had twice as many fans as the team we were playing, and I thought our student body and our cheerleaders, they did a great job. I thought it greatly influenced the game.
I think you're right. There's no question in high school sports, especially basketball, the noise from the stands is definitely a factor. There's no question about that. You brought up a familiar name, Jack Harris. Man, I remember when Jack Harris was playing at Terrell for Coach Beard. What a great player. I've always had a world of admiration for that Harris family, not only Jack, but his father, and I think his brother played. There were, or maybe it was his cousin.
Yeah.
Remember, you coached against Coach Harris, remember?
Absolutely. When you played against those guys, you knew you were supposed to get beat up. Very physical. Jack's done a great job. I just can't go through this without saying not too many years back, Jack recommitted his life to the Lord, and he has been such a positive Christian influence on our kids, and just what our school means. Jack was the farthest thing from being a basketball player. He was a football, baseball guy, and just seeing him and our coaches out there, him hugging them after the game, the excitement he had for our kids and our support for our other coaches was just a beautiful thing to see.
And I saw on Facebook all 5 of those guys out there hugging at the Lumpkin Center, I think it was. And what a great picture! That's one for the ages right there. You put that one on the wall, Coach.
Yeah, it's definitely going in our hall. I can promise you that. It was just them pulling for each other and supporting each other, no matter what the situation. And for the kids to be able to see that's important. They know those guys care about each other. All our kids know their coaches love them, and that just makes a big difference.
And I know we're going to get to that team where we both coached on down at SGA back in the late 80s. And I think that is one of the biggest things, Coach, is when your players love each other and respect the coaches, it makes all the difference in the world, don't it?
It does. We had it going on back then, and just to see some of our kids, the basketball players, some of our younger girls, maybe an older girl that didn't get to play a whole lot in the game or didn't get to play in the season, see their elation after the game and their parents commenting how great the team was. Because, the last person on the end of the bench is just important as the best player. And they practice and work hard each and every day. They study, keep their grades up, do the weightlifting, and those we had a lot of girls like that on our team, and they positively affected our team, and it positively affects our school also.
Well, Coach, you have been a great influence on kids. I've seen it up front and personal, how you have this ability to command respect of young men. And of course, you coach girls too. I remember back in your heyday of football coaching at SGA, when I was on the staff with you, you were also the track coach. and
Right,
you
right.
had you were dominant in track, and a lot of those female athletes that you had back in those days. Uh, do you think of coaching as just not a job, but a calling, a purpose?
I do, Marty. I told people before I retired, I don't feel like I've been to work any day. I feel like it's not something I ever dread to go to. I mean, there's good days and bad days like any professional course, but just the just the feeling you get working with a team, working with young people, and as I get older, I appreciate it even more. I've had some great kids to work with, kids that have had problems. We've been able to help them, try to be a positive influence to them, and just seeing them grow and get better is just such positive on me. It just makes me feel good to see what they do and see what our coaches, teachers can do with these young people. And it's just amazing.
I agree with you, Coach. I believe it's bigger than just a score, a number on a scoreboard, you know. And you and I, that's one of the things we've always had in common is we see it more. It's more than a game. It's more than winning. It's more than losing. It's a chance to make a difference. That's why we named this podcast "Step Up." Because step up and make a difference is the theme behind that. And I just feel that coaches in our society today still have this unblemished image, whereas a lot of professions have lost their luster. I think that coaches are still highly respected. It's hard to understand why, but we go out there with kids in the summer and we run them up and down the field, and down in South Georgia where you and I coach, they got gnats and they're sweating in
Yeah,
the heat and all of that stuff. And they just keep coming back for more. And
right.
it's just an amazing platform to stand in our society.
It is, Marty, and I'll never forget. A good friend of mine, yours, Alec Howell. He was a dentist in Blakely, all SEC basketball player at Auburn, and we were coaching his kids. And he came and did a FCA for us, and he prayed with me after. I'll never forget what he said. It sticks with me like glue. That he says coaches and teachers have a bigger chance to make an influence on young Christian lives than actually a preacher do, because they're with you way more hours than they'll ever be around their preacher, or at that time in their lives their parents. And he said you've got a great chance to make a huge difference in people's lives. And I got thinking about it. I said, hey, they're with you. The amount of hours that you're around each of those kids is just amazing, and you do have a chance to be a positive or negative influence.
And you and I have stood beside each other at funerals, uh, somber occasions, because the kids, they don't forget you. And unfortunately, we're called on to be there during periods of sadness as well as triumph.
Right, right.
It's just a unique call. I'm proud that I'm a coach, and I know you are too.
Absolutely. It's been a great career for me, and I just appreciate the opportunities I've had, and just hope I can continue to make a difference up to the end.
Well, you are a coach, and I hope we both can keep going, you know, keep our health, keep our minds. It's a stressful job sometimes, isn't it?
It is, and I just told you, thinking about something, being a football coach on Friday night. If you get to school at 7:15. You think about it, kickoff's around 7:15 most times, so you've already put in a full 12-hour day when the game starts. I mean, that's 4 hours of overtime, and then many times you get home from an away game, it'll be 1 o'clock in the morning. So the amount of time and hours you put in is just amazing.
Yeah, and I've never heard a coach complain. I've never heard one coach complain about the hours that they spend. We belly ache about some things, but the workload, I've never had a coach on my staff anywhere that regretted being a coach. It's a tough profession, and a lot of people fall by the wayside. But here we are, two old battle horses,
Right.
and we're still talking, aren't we?
I sure are. I mean, we got it still going on. We had some great times, and no doubt about it. And if you'd have, it seems like it's gone quick. When they had a little retirement deal for me in Dawson, and all the old kids and coaches and stuff that came back and got in contact with me, it meant the world to me. And I've spent the majority of my life doing this, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Well, I want our conversation to go to those. We spent 3 great years together, 87, 88, 89, down at Southwest Georgia Academy. And I've noticed that in the when we advertise on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and I don't know what all the people advertise this podcast on, but I get a notice on Sunday afternoons or about
Right.
lunchtime about how many people have responded, to it. And do you know that this is the most responses we've ever gotten? So it's possible we could be talking when this goes live to the biggest audience that Step Up's ever had, and that audience has grown and grown up into the tens of thousands now. And it when we figure out what the heck we know, we don't even know what we're doing,
Right.
and God seems to be blessing this. And maybe it's because there's just a need. Maybe it's because it's filling a void. We're not polished professionals. We just real. We talk about real things. We make mistakes and bloopers, but it seems like people appreciate that more than somebody that comes across insincere and in it for themselves.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely, and it's just crazy. That's awesome how many folks you've reached out to. We actually spent the night and went to watch the SGA girls play for the state championship yesterday. After our team won on Friday, and they lost a tough game against a hot team and finished second in the state, and only had 2 seniors on the team, and it's crazy. There's 8 of those girls or 9 on that team that I coached their mama or daddy. And see them on the floor one time and seeing them in the stands, with 30, 40-year-old people now is crazy. And then Amy Tucker, Infinger Tucker's the head coach now. And she played for us on that state championship team and in 99, and one of the best defense players I've ever seen. It's just amazing the reach you have and how many people you get a chance to come in contact with and touch in this career.
Yeah, it's really unreal. It's almost like we've lived 4 or 5 lifetimes, isn't it, Coach?
It is. It really is.
Well, I want to talk about that team we had at SGA and how special they were. There were 5 of us on that staff, and only 3 of us still left, alive.
Right.
Tell me, Tommy Mock went on to be with the Lord, and Coach Jimmy Seeley, and I loved those guys. They were family, and it's left a hole in your heart when you lose someone that stood beside you through all the things we went through. Wasn't that wasn't it an unbelievable experience?
It was super special, Marty, and the friendships we gained out of that's unbelievable. And I think about Coach Mock and Coach Seeley every day. I mean, it's just those 2 men. Heck, I think 2 of the toughest men I've ever known in my life. I think if I was going to get in a fight with 10 people, I'd pick them 2 because they'd beat them all up and I wouldn't even have to do anything. If just men's men. And both of them, something you could learn from them, and the kids knew they loved you, and they would tell you they loved you. And seeing Coach Seeley back in the day on the sidelines, I was sitting there thinking, I said, as tough as he is, I didn't think he would be like that, but he'd hug you and tell you he loved you just like Tommy. And I'll never forget my junior year at Riverview playing against SGA. I had a decent game. And after the game, Coach Seeley went out of his way and come up and put his arm around me. He said, I just want to tell you, I watched you on film. You're a good player, and you played even better than I. Keep doing big things. And I kind of made it a point after that, once I got coaching, to as often as I can to speak to opposing players on the opposing team, because you're battling against it, your enemies, you're going at it, but yeah, you got to respect the hard work and what people did, and he just taught life lessons that I'm still using to this day.
Yeah, those two guys, you could make a movie about either one of them. I remember when Tommy had his, before I came to SGA, he had that terrible accident where he almost died in a farm accident, and cut off part of his leg. And you told me a story one time about when he was recovering, and he had only a part of the leg that was functioning, and he came over there to walk on the track. You remember that? Do you remember that story, Coach?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I want you to tell that story to this audience. It's
I will.
unbelievable.
Tommy had an old timey corn cutter, and he was going to get it, and he was going to snap the corn for the so we could bait some doves and all. And I was supposed to meet him over there, and I called and told him I was going to be late, and he got his arm caught in the corn cutter, and it was pulling it down, and it was coming toward his neck. He said, "Daggum, this thing's fixing to pull my arm off," and he stuck his boot in there and stopped it with his foot. And then he got his arm out, and then it went to work on his leg. And I'm telling you, half his calf was gone. And this happened in November, and he was in the hospital for 3 or 4 weeks. And in January, he came back, and he went out there, was going to walk around. He said, "I got to walk." And he was limping bad. And one of the young girls said, Coach Mock's out there running, and he's limping bad. And it had started raining, and it was about probably 40 degrees, and he came in soaking wet. He changed clothes, and he was bleeding. I said, "Tommy," I said, I'm going to be fine. And he wrapped a towel around his leg and went and taught a physical science class. And toughest human man I ever met, no doubt.
And he drove himself home from that field, as I recall, to the
He
hospital.
absolutely did. He absolutely did.
I remember I knew Coach from high school. When he was in high school, he played for Miller County. He was a center down there. And my brother-in-law played with him. And we played, I was at Bainbridge. We played against Colquitt in a lot of sports, baseball, basketball, football. He was so tough, just the toughest guy, and so inspirational to me. I remember the first game I coached at SGA. If you remember it, we played Westwood in
Right.
Camilla.
Right.
And he was in the end zone, and Heath Fleming, who I had befriended, we'll talk about Heath too, one of our linebackers. And he said, "Coach Mock's going to tell a story tonight. Coach, you got to hear it." And he told a story about a guy who swam the English Channel. And he was in the bad weather against the current, you just name it. He laid the story out so eloquently. And he said he almost made it, but he didn't. But he would have if he'd have had a leg.
Yeah, right.
You remember that?
Yep, absolutely.
And the kids were just so fired up after that. Do you remember that game? I think, how many goal line stands did we have there? Was it 3 or was it
I think
2?
I think we stopped them inside the 5 3 times.
And then broke one and ran it. Either we scored or got right down to the goal line. And
Right.
It totally changed. And I remember our running back, Paul Nelke, who was incredible, was so winded. He was a quarterback.
Right.
At the beginning of the year, and he was so winded that we couldn't. He needed a rest because I think he intercepted it and ran it back something like 90 yards.
Right.
And they called it back or something. You can fill in the details, and that is when you put in Todd Tabb.
Todd Tabb. That's right.
And we never took Todd Tabb out. And at quarterback, and Paul Nelke became the best running back in the history of that school and probably just about any school. And that play sort of determined that.
That's right. It did. And it's amazing. Todd's a veterinarian, lives right down the road from me now. And Todd, he in a 3-year career, he won 3 region championships, 3 state championships, and lost 3 games total. So I think that move worked out pretty good.
He well, he played for me in basketball too down there, and I think he hit 4 game-winning shots his senior year.
Yep.
Unbelievable in basketball. And I remember they made the state championship in baseball. Coach Phillips
Right.
was coaching him. Coach Buzzy Phillips, who was on that staff, and the week before that, it might have been you and I had umpired a game up at Sherwood, and we saw, I think it was Tatnall or Stratford,
Right.
a great pitcher they had pitched up there, and he was lights out.
Right.
So the next day, we told Todd, I don't know if you can beat those guys, Todd. I just don't know if you're that good or not. And then, of course,
Right.
that's what we did it on purpose, because he went up there and threw a shutout against them.
He did.
And that's the kind of guy he was and still is. And that team was made of several people just like that.
They were one of the closest knit teams I've ever seen. Just played tremendous together. It was unbelievable. And I know you noticed Max Evans, who was offensive and defensive tackle on the team. I hired him, and he's our offensive line, defensive line coach, and our wrestling coach at school now.
And, I remember every game we would meet at the goal line, and Max would come up and hug our neck. Coach, I love you. I have never forgotten that. It meant everything to me. And it was like the signal, okay, it's time to kick it off when Max
That's
did
right.
that.
That's right. He outstanding individual, has done a great job for us, and it's just fun to be a part of. It sure is.
It sure is. Heath Fleming. I mean, we could go down that list of great players on that team, and Hill Hightower. Oh gosh, it's too many to begin naming
Yeah, you get
names.
Ray Griffin and Gant Dowdy. You get naming them. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just unreal, and they're all just still guys that we think so much of in our life. And of course, winning 3 in a row was unreal, and some of those were just an eye blink from losing them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It could have all of those could have gone either way. I mean, I'll never forget in the '87 game. We got down there. We were driving against Westfield, and it was 4th and 17, and Todd completed a pass. We completed a pass for 21 yards. I mean, what's the odds of that happening? When you calculate that, I mean, I don't know mathematically if it was hardly possible, but we did it.
Yeah, and that was just one of many. That was just one of many. There's so many moments that we could talk about with that group, but it changed my life being there, and the kindred spirit on the coaching staff. I'm like you. I think of Coach Seeley. I think of Tommy Mock every day, and I remember before Tommy died, he called me on the phone and said that he became a silversmith before
Right.
he died. And he and Diane, my wife, were always, he always loved Diane. He knew her when she was a little girl,
Right.
And he told me this story through tears. And of course, you know how Tommy could get to your heart. I was crying on the other end of the phone
Right.
about Chip, who was our water boy and on that team. And my son was in Kermit, Texas, and working in oil fields. And Tommy said that he learned to be a silversmith from a guy who taught at the same high school as Chip was teaching at.
Really?
And the story was so interconnected, I just couldn't believe it. And he sent a keychain to Diane, and it wasn't long after that Tommy went on to be with the Lord. So every time I see that, I think of him and what he meant to me.
Right.
And
he was an amazing human being. There's no doubt about it. And, I still, one of the funniest things that ever happened the first year I was there. I went, and it of course it involved a bird dog again. I was going to help him run some dogs, and we went out there, and Jeannie, his daughter, who's an optometrist now in Texas, extremely successful. Oh golly, she couldn't have been but like 3 or 4 years old. And she went over there and he had a big water trough like thing. It was full of dog food. And I looked over and Jeannie had a handful and was eating the dog food. And I said, Tommy, I said, Jeannie's eating dog food. And he turned around and looked at me. He said, that's cheaper than steak. He never said it didn't bother him one bit. And I tell you what, I wouldn't want to get in a fight with Jeannie Mock right now. I can promise you.
No, man, I'm telling you right now, he was just such a character. I remember when in that game that you were talking about, I think we were playing Westfield,
Right.
and we had that punt block. They had the great kicker. I can't think of the kid's name, but he was just he was a great kicker.
Joey Brett.
Joey Brett, that's right.
Yep, he ended up going to South Carolina.
Yep, that's right. He did. And we had that punt block called, and our tight end was supposed to get through. Tommy had designed that play where we'd wedge and send a big tall guy through there, and I think our tight end got tripped up and didn't make it. But somehow a guy who wasn't in the mix, Cleve McFay,
right,
got in there and it hit him right in the face mask and bounced way out the midfield. And it wasn't but just a few plays where we scored and iced that game, but it could have gone. Had he not done that, we would have lost that game. And
absolutely.
Last time I talked to Cleve, we had a reunion, so you were there when we met at Steele's place, and he says, Coach, my jaw still don't hit on the back. My teeth still don't hit on the back where I took that in the face mask.
Right.
Oh, what a game! What memories! But we could go on about that all night. And but Coach, I wanted to just let you tell me about Terrell Academy. I know you've had extensive growth up there. You guys have done a great job. Tell me, what is the ingredients that makes Terrell so successful? When other schools are not picking up kids like that, you guys are humming.
Right. We have for 7 years straight, we've increased enrollment. We tied it year before last, but we came back, and it's kind of neat. They one of our people put on Facebook about this thing, what's different, and it said we're family. And families aren't perfect, that's for sure, and they make mistakes each and every day, and we strive to get better. But I just, I think our faculty cares about our kids, and we've got a great board of directors. They let us do our job. They don't interfere. They do a good job leading the school. It's been extremely positive coming back. When the COVID situation hit, that was definitely the toughest school year ever. I still think about those seniors in that class. They missed the last 2.5 months of their class. We did have a graduation for them outside, and matter of fact, we were the last school in Georgia to shut down, and the governor was fixed to come shut us down. We were pushing through, but we just try and be positive and be family. And we have FCA, we have chapel for our kids, elementary, high school, middle school, every week. The Lord's first. We're always going to openly praise Him. We actually had 2 seniors start a Turning Point USA chapter in the school, and the Turning Point chapter from Georgia came and did it. We're the biggest Turning Point chapter in any high school in the state of Georgia. So we're proud, and we're proud to honor God and to hold Him first. And if you don't do that, you're not going to have a good education. But I think we've done a good job, and I'm not trying to brag on myself or anything. The one thing I think I've done a good job at is I've hired good people, and that's a huge key. And W.T. Henry, he was at SJ and at Deerfield. He told me, he said, Bill, he said, you're only going to be able to turn that ship just a little bit. The faculty is going to be the ones doing most of the work. So, hire good people, and I think I've been lucky and done that.
Yeah, I think that's the secret to everything. If you want a coaching staff, if you want a school, anything, it's people's relationships. I don't think you can emphasize enough. I mean, the people around you make or break things. If you have a problem in your school, the source of that problem is probably a person. If you want to solve that problem, it's probably going to be a person that fixes that. If people make it work, it's
Right.
relationships.
Right.
So, what do you look for when you hire a person? We have a lot of college students that watch this program, Coach, and they
Right.
want to get jobs. What would you say to an aspiring teacher or coach if they want to be successful? What formula would you give?
I just think the number one thing to be successful in our profession, Mars, you got to care about kids. If you don't love kids and want to influence them, and I also love to hear stories when folks come to me about a favorite teacher they had or a favorite coach that had the difference, what they did to make a difference in their life, because they're going to try and do the same thing. I was sitting there. This was funny. I had a Friday. I had one of my credit cards. Somebody tried to do some fraud on it, and I had to go through this system. And they were sitting there, and they asked my name and address, and I said, "Okay, what was one of your favorite teachers in high school?" That was one of my passcodes to do it, and I was like, "Heck!" And I got thinking. I said, "Daggum, I had so many. I don't know what name I put." And then I remembered it popped in my head. I had Coach Heisler and Coach Larry Heisler and Beverly Heisler. They were a coach teacher combination of mine. And I said, "Is it HYSLER?" And they said, "Yes." And just that kind of influence. And there I was. I had them in high school. Both of those educators, they came to both my mother and father's funeral. So there's no doubt in my mind they cared about me, and I would do anything for them, and I was successful for them because I didn't want to let them down.
I think that you probably are just like me, and you're trying to be that figure in a kid's life now that they were in your life.
Right.
I
I
know
I
that when
just
I was.
love when the
Go ahead.
kids come in this morning to school. I'm giving them knuckles, high five, asking about them, and that's something that's kind of gotten crazy. 10 years ago, the first day of school, I knew the name of every kid at school. Now we've got a number. I've got to keep up with it and make sure I know who's who. And it's a good thing to have, but just they want you to know you care about them.
Yeah, I believe that's a good piece of advice to give to a young aspiring coach. And I teach one of your players. My first year at Shorter, I had I think it was introduction class or something, and Shenard Pittman
Right,
was sitting back there, and I asked him, "Where are you from?" And he said, "I played at Terrell Academy," and we got to know each other. We're real close, Coach. And
right,
in fact, I'll see him in the morning. My golf team, we work out Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:15 and or 6:30, and Shenard will be there. He'll be there with them. And so I got him to write a story about one of my assignments is who made a big difference in your life, and he wrote about you.
right.
And I think he sent that to you. I told him you need to send, or maybe I sent it to you.
You did,
But
you did.
he's just an example of how a coach can make a difference in a kid's life. And you
Right,
came along at the right time in Chenard's life.
right. And I'll never forget when he came in with his mother, and I said, this impressed me so much about this young man. I said, "Why do you want to come to Terrell Academy?" And he said, "Because I'm looking for a good education, and I think I can get a better one here than where I'm at. And that's what I'm most concerned about." He said, "Because I know I won't be able to play sports my whole life, but my education's always going to go with me." That was a 16-year-old kid, and I almost fainted.
Wow, that's amazing. It's kids can get in your heart. One of the players that we had on that team back then, he's a grown man now, is Heath Fleming.
Right,
And Heath will just every now and then out of the blue, he'll just send me a text message, and it's always so moving, and it just makes me so proud that I crossed his path to see the kind of man he's
right,
become.
right,
And I bet he does the same to you.
right. He does, and we do it some in the group. It's awesome just to know, you know, that they feel that way about you, and you can feel that way, and and you can have a so much different relationship with them after they're out, and that just happens so often. It's just like yesterday at the basketball game. I was pulling for the Warriors hard, and so many of those kids I'd coached or coached their husband or them, and wanted to do good, and just see them, and then seeing their marks today. We'll be back next year. Had a great season, that kind of stuff. It just warms your heart.
It does. And it just is amazing how those relationships transcend competition and this crucible that you and I have been living in all these years of trying to win games. And there's just something a lot bigger than that. And I think relationship building in coaches, to me, is the most important thing. When we think of memories of teams, it's not wins and losses so much.
Right.
It's just little things that happen on the field, and
Right.
and in the gym. And those are the things we'll carry with us to our grave.
Absolutely. It touches your heart to see what they do and see what you can mean in their life. Cause I know what they mean in my life. And, I tell you one that it's especially neat. I've been lucky through the years that a lot of my former SGA kids have come and brought their kids to Terrell. They live around the Albany area. And I mean, there were actually two of those girls playing. Nikki Blocker and Jenna Hobbs' daughters were playing on the team last night. Both of them great contributors. Just neat seeing that one. Brian Bridges, who played, and Brian ended up not playing his senior year. And Brian was a strong kid. He was an average football player, great kid. And, he is not in a bad way, but Brian was a little rounder. He'd stay in a little trouble at school, nothing bad, talking all the time, being a little late. Well, Brian now, he brought his kids, and they've been tremendous assets to our school. And he runs an extremely successful construction and road grading type business in Leesburg, and has done, extremely well financially and just done a great job. And he came down and met with me and said, I want my kids to go to school with you. And that would meant the world.
Oh man, I'm telling you well, I guarantee you, there's a lot of kids that come there because of your reputation, Coach. I mean, I would send my kids there in a heartbeat if I was a young parent. I'm looking at grandkids now.
That's right.
And,
How many do you have now?
I got two.
There you
Tyler,
go.
my youngest son, Liam spent the weekend with us. He's a cool little kid, 3-year-old, and then he just had a daughter, Addison, Diane. Was Diane
Oh, yeah.
Addison.
Yes.
Named her Addison. So they call Diane Honey, and she just loves it. So
That's what they call Amy. I tell you something neat about the Addison name. Benji Addison was related to Mr. Lamar and him. He Benji's boy played for me, and Lily started yesterday in the championship game on Friday, and she scored, I think, 10 or 12 points. And I asked him, did he know? Did he know? He said, "You daggum right. We're related to him distantly." So it's just a small world. So because we have Addison starting on our basketball team from Colquitt.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there was one when I was down at Tri-County, and now it's Marion County. There was an Addison down there too, and I think we were related to him. And I run into him every now and then. But I'm telling you, it's just been a great life. I tell you, when my last day on earth is done, I really am not going to have many regrets. There are a lot of things I wish I hadn't done, and you know about a lot of them.
Right.
But I tell you, I think that the Lord's put me in a place where I just feel like I've lived and done what God wanted me to do. Not perfectly, but I sure have enjoyed. I have enjoyed the struggle.
I have too, and I like you said, Marty. I'm like you. I've made many mistakes, and wish I could take something back, but just keep strive to doing better. And it's just, I think education and coaches are needed more now than ever before, and in this world the way it's gotten, and it's gotten kind of crazy. And if it doesn't have somebody in there to steady the ship, I don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's everything. Coaches, the church didn't get to me when I was young as much as coaches did. The coaches that took me to church and coached me, those are the guys who made a difference in my life. And
Right,
so
absolutely.
Well, Richard Holdridge and Mike Peacock are normally with me here at night, but they were making the call on your state championship game last night and
Right.
in the Lumpkin Center, and they said to tell you hello, that they're sorry that they couldn't be here. And the show is, I got to tell you, the show is much better when Mike is here and when Richard's back than with me. But it's a joy to see you again. You know I love you, man.
I love you too, Marty.
And you have always been a great friend to me. You know, one of the things that we never talk about, but here's the kind of friendship you and I had. When I had a dog, a golden retriever named Mickey,
Yep.
and Mickey got killed, and I will never forget that you took Mickey off and buried him for me. So you know how much I loved him.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
that's a real friend.
Yep.
And
But you would have done it for me.
oh, absolutely. I think you and I both buried Sham, who
That's
was
right.
one of the greatest dogs of all time, who was always in our post-game prayer.
That's
Remember?
right. Yeah, we'd have to run him off from kickoff a lot of times.
Oh yeah, he was something else. But that's friendship, man, and I appreciate down through the years. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, you know, all you got to do is call.
I absolutely know that. Same here.
I'm up at Shorter. If keep sending us players up there, man.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try.
It was an honor having you on tonight, Coach, and I wish you the best and God bless you. And if you're out there listening to this show, all you have to do is to view the show is just go to Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and you will see a lot of our past episodes. You will see games where we broadcast those on Facebook and on YouTube. So, Coach, it was an honor, my friend, to have you. And let's make this deal. We'll have you back again. How about that?
I would love to do it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much and love you.
All right, buddy. Love you too. And good night, everyone. Thank you for watching Step Up. If you have a chance this week, you see someone in need, there's something that needs to be done. Don't be afraid to step up and make a difference.